Hi, this is Sabine Matharu, and this is another episode of the Reach for Greatness vlog. And today I've got an amazing guest with me. It is Carrie Eddins from the Blondepreneur Limited. She is specialist in public relations, and she helps female entrepreneurs get visible online. And I was very, very excited when I met Carrie, because I know what public relations can actually do for small business owners. And I think she's going to just say that in her own words as well, what she's been doing and how we can actually apply public relations and how we can actually move towards or perhaps thinking about doing that as well. So Carrie, over to you. I'd love you to introduce yourself briefly, and then I'll ask you a couple of questions, and we'll get lots of value as well, some tips that people can actually take away. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you for this opportunity. It's lovely to be here and lovely to be on this. I'm really grateful. So what I do, I work typically, I'd say typically like 99.9% of the time, I work with female entrepreneurs or business owners and I help them be seen and heard with PR. I do PR because I enjoy it. I find it endlessly fascinating. I always have done. And PR is just a way of supercharging your visibility like nothing else. It's completely incomparable to anything from blog posting to Facebook living to Insta storytelling and everything. It's head and shoulders above that. It's kind of, I liken it to walking in an arena with your mic on that's silent. Granted, most people will still be on their smartphones, but that's kind of hard to get them to switch the smartphones off. But you get people's attention much more when you're in the media. People take you seriously. Mm-hmm. You're considered an expert much faster. And it's a very, very supercharging way of building a community, generating leads and getting more business.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really amazing. And you know, for me, it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get into the media? And what do I need to have in order to be able to do that? I mean, what I understand is that there's a lot of competition. You might need to have a really good story because you want to engage with people. And also, once you are in the media, then, you know, you could get a lot of leads and a lot of business from that. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. I mean, I really want you and your listeners to hear, though, that, you know, you have to understand that 24/7, 7 days a week, between now and as long as the planet exists, the media are looking to hear from you. They're looking for your story and your opinion. Okay, that is happening constantly, no matter what is happening, no matter what's going on in your life or you know, or the media. They're looking for your take on things, your story, your view. There's always something else. I attended a media conference in New York last October, and I met most of the American media, and they all said, look, we've heard it all before, but we still want to hear your story. We still want to hear your opinion. We're curious. It's human nature to want to know a bit more. And the heart of PR is actually, it's part storytelling and it's part opinion sharing. That is it, you know. So in order to get started in PR, I always say to my clients, well, you do need to have a website. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You need to have good photos, and you can, you know, most of the time now people can take good headshots on their smartphone, pretty good high quality ones. I mean, a professional photographer obviously would take it to another level, of course, but, you know, a good quality picture from your smartphone can be good enough to start with. Then you absolutely, even in the world of everybody wanting to watch video, you need to have written blog posts. I always advocate at least 20. I mean, that's a bare minimum, because what people don't understand is that most people in the media, most of the journalists, they can't actually watch a video in their offices. Mm-hmm. So even if you have a video on your Facebook page or your website, on your Twitter profile and everything, they can't actually watch it. So you need to have them transcribed, but better than that, you need to have written content. I know a lot of some fairly successful business owners, they often have like a blog post, and they have like a written one, and then they have like a link to them with a video and then an audio separately. So they have it all kind of separate, which is in the ideal world, that'd be really good. But I would make sure that you have at least 20 written blog posts which talk about your opinions, your story, tie it into what's going on that's relevant to your business.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely also need to be able to articulate why you do what you do, so your founder story, but then you need to be able to relate it into what's happening currently. So you need to have like your foundational story, you need to be able to articulate that really fast. I'm talking in like 10 to 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need to be able to expand on that into how you've evolved into doing what you're doing. So for example, one of my clients, she helps women with weight loss. Now she starts off her story talking about like how when she was growing up as a teenager, she was paranoid about putting on weight. So she had actually what now we look at as orthorexia. So mm-hmm. she kind of shares that story, and then she's like, so now she works with women who have all kinds of issues with food and weight, but she's got people kind of get it because they understand that she understands them. People and the media get it because they're like, well, she's real. She's got empathy. She's being human. Because that's the other thing about the media. I always say, and I say no to clients who come to work with me if they're not prepared to talk about their personal story behind their level of expertise. So for example, this lady, if she wasn't the weight loss lady, if she wasn't prepared to go public with the media about her weight loss, about her orthorexia growing up, then the media won't be interested in hearing about her testimonials for her clients, because they will be a bit like, well, they would be, but it'd be very limited, because I'm like, well, if you can't own your story, your warts and all journey, and you can't share your personal story about weight loss or orthorexia, then why would I take you seriously about helping other people? Because that's the thing. It's really important to be able to do that. And if you can't do that, I suggest that you don't actually go to the media. A lady I was speaking to in New York, she wanted to be known as a domestic violence expert. And I said, but are you willing to go public about your domestic violence story? And she was like, no. And I said, they won't take you seriously. Just leave it. Just do marketing. But the media will they won't buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed that as well, that also on social media, if you're vulnerable and you show your cards and you're really honest and, your personality comes through, your story comes through, that there's more people actually engaging with your posts as well. And that's just driving more results nowadays, rather than just putting up a mask and just talking about the same old things that everyone else is talking about. Because there's not that layer around, well, why does she know? Has she been there? Has she been in that situation? How can she help others? Because she's done it for herself, right?
Yeah, completely. And the thing is, it's like the vulnerability posts on Facebook, obviously I've seen them, but you've got to think that would it's like on steroids with the media, so that might get like a couple of thousand hits. You could get 100,000 or a couple of million hits if you go into particular traditional media. Do you know what I mean? So it's taking it to another level. So I'm sure you've seen as well as I've seen that there's almost there isn't almost, there actually are some fake vulnerability posts. Well, I've seen them and you can tell it's not real. The media will sniff that out. Do you know what I mean? So I always say, like, is this really true? Is this really true? Because there are parts of the media that will that's their job, to find out whether what somebody is saying is really true. And especially the more successful you become, they will find it out. So I always say the best strategy is to sort of own your story completely, warts and all. And the quicker you can go to the press about it, the easier life will become, especially if you want to be really, and again, I work with loads of women who are really ambitious and really successful, and I sort of say, just own it, and they do, and it becomes easier. But that's what is really important to sort of know.
That's brilliant. So what sort of results have your clients had? Because I know that some of your clients came into really big publications and had super results.
Yeah, I mean, I've had them in like BBC News, repeatedly in the Metro. We've had them in Mashable, the Telegraph, the Daily Mail last week. I mean, there's just so many, really. But I mean, a lot of I'm really at the moment. I'll be honest with you, and I advocate this to all the clients, and anybody would listen, really. I always say, like, at the moment, I think it's much more powerful to go into mainstream media. There was a study by the biggest PR company called Edelman last year, and they said that now 61% of the population take traditional media seriously compared to 25% of social media. It switched. It was the opposite in 2012. Now people have gone back to mainstream media. So I'm really advocating to my clients to really just, I'm not saying the specialised press and specialised magazines aren't valuable. Of course they are, but I'm saying go for the mainstream first.
Yeah, can imagine. And I mean, obviously you do work with women, you prep them, the story, and, you know, how do you work? Because, you know, I've got this vision of like, oh gosh, how am I going to do this on my own? How can I reach out to these people? I don't have the network. I don't know how to talk to the media. It's going to be a long, hard way. So, you know, as opposed to working with you, where you know your stuff, you've got the connections, and you know what's required and how you're going to present the story to them, and how you maximize the chances to get into the bigger publications for your clients.
Well, I say that, you know, PR isn't brain surgery, but is an art form. And the first principle you need to think about, and you need to really sort of write it down on a post-it or put it in your phone or whatever, really get into your head that PR is not about you. It's about how you can help the media. PR is about them. Mm-hmm. So you have to really understand that, like, it's how you can help that particular journalist look good and do a good piece, or, you know, of journalism. It's always about how you can help them. And even another step before that, it's like back up a bit further. It's like, it's not about the media that you would like to consume. It's about who your audience consumes. What does your audience consume? So read the Daily Mail. Even if you hate the Daily Mail, you've got to go and try and get in the Daily Mail, because that's where you've got to go to where your audience is. And I always playfully say it's a bit like getting over yourself a little bit. It's like, it's not about you, you know, like, for example, I'm a vegan and I want to go and, you know, like, you know, some of my clients would not be in like Vegan Living. They're going to be in the Daily Mail, or they're going to be, do you know what I mean? If I look at it from my personal values perspective, but it's not about me. It's about where are they? Yeah. And so, and not everybody likes to hear this, but it's a really important point. It's about where and if you don't know where your audience, what media your audience consumes, just ask them. Really, seriously, just say, I'm doing a bit of research. You can do it really easily on Facebook. You can do a poll. You can do a poll with like Survey Monkey and send it out in an email and ask your best clients, you know, what do you read? Do you read Red Magazine? Are you watching This Morning? Are you reading Woman and Home? What podcast are you listening to? So you know where they hang out. And so find out where your audience hangs out. Then understand that when you're pitching anything, it's all about how you can help the media constantly. That's the main thing. It's not about, oh, I've written this amazing book, Sabina, it's brilliant and blah, it's going to change people's lives. They don't care. They want to know how it's going to help their readers or their listeners or their viewers. That is it. So that you've got to kind of position it like that. Once you've identified which media you want them to feature, so let's just say it's Red Magazine, you go onto Twitter. You all need a Twitter account. If you haven't got one, go and create one instantly, because the media hang out on Twitter. That's where they spend, you know, their time mostly.
All right.
And
what was that again?
Twitter. So you just go to Twitter.
And which account? Where
just set up an account. Just set up an account. And then, like, for example, if you wanted to be in Red Magazine, you look at where you look in the search bar and you type in Red Magazine. Mm-hmm. You start to follow them on Twitter, and if you go into you could probably put Red Magazine editor, or if you get a copy of Red Magazine, find out who the editor is, find out, so you know, I mean, you won't directly pitch the editor, you probably pitch to like the features editor, or depending on where you'd like to be featured in Red Magazine, look at who is the features editor or the assistant features editor, look for them in the search bar on Twitter and start to follow them and start to build a relationship with them.
Yeah. Brilliant advice there. Thank you. So, Carrie, just before we wrap up very quickly, how do you work with your clients and where can they find you?
Yeah, certainly. I do work one-to-one, and so, which is where I manage their PR. So we go through the whole process of helping you find your story, helping you articulate it, helping you understand where you would tell me where my audience is. I would help you pitch it and everything. So I manage all the pitches and everything.
Brilliant.
The other thing is, which I'm nearly launched, which is my PR training academy, which is where people can go in and they can buy like a basic PR course, an intermediate PR course, an advanced PR course. And I've got courses like that. And they also have like a membership club, which I've learned. Yeah, monthly membership. You can have there's 3 different levels depending on your budget, and there's different accesses to me, for example. So
wow, that sounds amazing. So it's pretty much from almost like DIY all the way up to you holding hands and managing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the highest level of the third tier of my membership, you have an hour consult with me a week, and the second and third tier, you're a member of a private Facebook group, and you can pick my brains about things, because it's access to me really you're paying for. As the second level, you get all of my courses for £97 a month, which is quite good. So
brilliant. So where should you be then as an entrepreneur? You need to have a website.
You need to have a website, yeah.
You want to be growing quickly and big and be visible like instantly, right? Or that's the result that you could expect.
Yeah.
You need to be willing to be sharing your story, and do you have to be a public person?
No, you don't have to be a public person, really. That's a bit of a misconception about PR. You just need to, I would say, you need to be looking on Twitter, looking at what's trending. If you go to the BBC, you can look at all the different sections. You can look at business, health, etc. On the main BBC News website, you can see, obviously for the UK people, there's Europe and the USA as well on there. You need to be tracking the news and then seeing how you can weave that into being relevant to your business. So, but what you have to understand PR is not just for Easter, Mothering Sunday, summer, Christmas. It's constant. So it's a constant. So it's not just a one-off. So one PR piece could lead to another, but you have to take action. So you have to kind of build upon it. It's like a snowball. And then once you kind of get to a point where you've got a certain number of PR things, and the media will start to take notice and come to you. But to get to that point, it's like with anything, isn't it? Like when you first start a business, you get one client to get another, to get another, to get another, and then you start to get referrals. Yeah, so that's exactly what PR, I mean, to start with, I recommend going on Twitter and starting to follow key journalists of places you'd like to be featured in, and start to build relationships, seeing and start to buy the publications or watch them or listen to them. Start to get a feel for it, because it's all doable. It does take time and energy. I'm not going to lie. It's not a quick fix. It's something that will really transform your business, but you have to, like with anything, at the start, you have to put a bit more effort in than once it's a routine.
Yes. Yeah. And it is a strategy to be visible. Yeah.
It really is. And it's kind of, and if you are really, really introverted, don't go for the telly option. You can just do the article in the newspaper, or you could do the radio interview. Do you know what I mean? You don't need to go on. I'm going to go this morning. It's all or nothing this morning. If you're too introverted to sit on the couch with them, don't do it,
Exactly. Okay. Well, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, Carrie. I'm going to drop all the links to your membership site and to your website as well, and people can also book one-to-ones, like free discovery call perhaps.
Yeah, I do have free discovery calls that people can book. Yeah, because we need to, when people work with me one-to-one, obviously we both need to know that we are a match, and I work quite differently to a lot of PR people, so that needs to be clear. I'm the emotional, intuitive person, so I'm not the logical PR person. That's not for everybody, and that's absolutely great, because there's one for everybody, isn't there?
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you so much for being a guest today, Carrie. And,
my pleasure.
Let's do some PR. I think it's a great thing to do for all the small businesses. I mean, there's lots of opportunities out there, and I think it's definitely worth having a look into it. Because it's with everything, isn't it? You've got to invest not only time, maybe also money and energy to actually be visible. And sometimes it just takes that next leap as well, and to go out of your comfort zone and try something different.
Yeah, definitely. And PR will totally take you out your comfort zone. And I think for me, the biggest thing people that stops people doing PR is judgment. It's our judgment of ourselves and our judgment of what other people will think.
Yeah, that's the hurdle. That's the we need to overcome that and think, well, actually, no, we want to do our best work. We want to be actually visible, and we do ourselves a disservice if we don't show who we are and serve. And as you're saying, we're going back to the story and what is we are serving the readers. It's not about us.
No, exactly. And it's the ultimate, I think PR is the ultimate test in whether somebody is serious about their business. You really want to make their dent in the world. They're prepared to do PR. If they are, then I always think, they are wanting to make a difference. If they're not, I kind of think, well, yeah, okay, maybe not,
Not
it's
quite ready, or
not quite ready, or it's not quite what they really want to do. You find out, I mean, it's sort of the acid test about, doing it.
Yes.
But it is often timing. You're right. Definitely, it's a timing thing.
But it's definitely something to keep in mind and sort of prepare yourself, because if you haven't got a website yet, or you haven't got your 20 blog posts yet, then obviously you know what you're working towards.
Without question,
you know who to come to, right?
Yeah,
Carrie.
of course.
So thank you so much, Carrie, and we'll sign off.
My pleasure.
Take care. Bye.
All right, bye.